This meeting is being recorded.
Yes, it is. The little box that jumps up, you got to click the word "got it," and then are ready to roll. Sitting at the front edge of your chair. Starting on your breathing. Okay. So, like we begin any practice, any mind-body practice, it's useful to do a meditative component where you're doing nothing physical, overtly physical. We're not doing any technique because this can be very distracting if we jump right into that. What we want to look for is first the ability to let the body settle, let the body relax. That's what's very specific to Taoist practice. Taoist being the ancient Chinese. So where Chinese medicine came from, where Tai Chi came from, Qigong came from, Feng Shui came from, all from Taoist insight, Taoist understanding, which is based on observing nature and observing and an emphasis on naturalness. So this emphasis on soft, on supple. They have this term, sung, S-U-N-G is how we would transliterate. Soft, supple, and pliable. And in the Tao Te Ching, the sort of seminal philosophy book, Tao Te Ching, that is the Taoist sort of book of sort of poems, but these poems are pithy, insightful poems. One of the main points they say is if you look in nature, like a tree, that which is soft and supple and pliable is alive, is sustainable, is able to survive. That which is rigid, hard, brittle, and dry, that is moving in the direction of death. So we have life, death, and then their practices, everything we'll do, has to yield or move us in the direction of more sung, more soft, more supple, more pliable. But this opening meditation is a great moment to look at if my posture is bad, if I'm slouched and my head is way out here, and then I try to relax, well, all I'm doing is going deeper into a sort of crunched, stuck, rigid place. So I can't just relax. I have to do something to correct what is incorrect. And those are generally we're spilling like so, and the head chin is too far up, we're crunching the back of the neck, and our back is slouched and rounded, right? So this is the like quintessential, I've got a cane and I'm old now, right? This is that shape, right? This isn't what we see from people as they age. We're not walking around like this. We're walking around slouched and rounded. So that's a generalization of what's going wrong. So we want to, from the pelvis, tip. You see the direction I'm rolling my hands this way. We want to tip the pelvis forward like it's a bowl of water that we're spilling out the front, right? So if I'm tipped back like this, I'm spilling water out the back. So I usually need to roll this pelvis so that it's kind of just a little bit spilling out the front. So let's just do that a couple of times. Sometimes your brain doesn't have even connection to the pelvis yet to even do this. And some other exercises we do will wake that up. But just do the wrong thing. So spill back the pelvis and get slouchy. right? And notice how your whole spinal column collapses a little bit, kind of shrinks, and the head kind of hangs there. And then roll forward just on the pelvis, and you might even be able to just see it in my body that suddenly I have a vertical axis, but it's not because I'm holding or pushing, grabbing my body to make it. All I've done is correct what's going wrong down here. So I tip my pelvis and everything collapses, right? So I'm a little collapsed and slouched. And then I roll that pelvis forward, and there's this springiness. There's this line that shoots up out the crown of the head, this verticality that, again, does not come from grabbing with the shoulders or holding with the neck. In fact, the more relaxed I am through everything else, the more that verticality is very buoyant and very easily sustained. Let's do that twice more. Just spill back. So doing the wrong thing helps us to feel the command from the brain to do the right thing. Tip that pelvis, lengthen up through the crown, find that vertical pillar. One more time. Do the wrong thing. Slouch, kind of like you're really depressed and just kind of, oh. And then roll on the pelvis and find zhong, or vertical upright, central upright, and stay there. Try to stay there, not by holding, but instead by what's called chunwon, softening and releasing into stability. So I use the example of Bobo the Clown, this toy that existed back in the day. You probably know what it is. It's a blow-up clown that you could knock over, it would fall, and then it naturally brought itself perfectly upright. And the reason it could do that is because all of the weight, the sand, was down, consolidated at the bottom. So that's what chunwon is us practicing. First, let's get our vertical, and then soften and release everything you can, the whole tissue meat body, softer, softer, and softer. And what you'll feel is this sediment descending, gravity, that which can sink, sinks. And then that which is left is what they call qingling, light, nimble, pliable, or lively. And this is levity. So there's gravity, and then this levity that's left in our body. And again, we don't float away, but we have mobility, movability in our body. When we're holding our body, we get rid of the qingling, and we don't have chunwon. We're kind of walking around on the surface of the earth like a big stiff Frankenstein that can fall over. But when we soften and release, we allow this plugging into the earth, and then we find this hydraulic, loose, free-moving body. So that's what Tai Chi is. Zhong, chunwon, and then qingling, light and nimble. So when you're doing meditation practice at home, you're not just sitting here thinking about what you're going to do later. You're actually engaging these concepts of central upright, soft, and settled down through the chair, down through your legs, down to the earth, and feeling light, feeling open, feeling spacious, so that your nerves flow unobstructed, that qi flows unobstructed. Let's do a little breathing in through the nostrils, long and smooth. Filling up, holding out the mouth to empty. Do this a few times. In the nose. Holding out the mouth like a sigh. A release, melting. Do this a few times. Notice how breathing causes you to move. Your inhale expands, lifts, and sinks and opens in all directions. Your exhale settles and melts and releases and softens. And then your inhale again when you're ready. Opens up interior real estate in the shoulders, the neck, the head, the back, the pelvis. The exhale melts anything that you were grabbing onto. Last few breaths here. What it's also cultivating as you are bringing your E or your attention or your intent, the E spelled Y-I-E, your intent is being harnessed, focused by each breath that you take in. You're present with it with the mind. You're watching it as you hold. You're watching it turn into the exhale all the way out. You're not distracted. You're not worried about this. You're not running around in your mind. You're with that exhale. You hold empty for a bit. When it's time, you then inhale. So we have to harness, retether our attention, our focus, our presence to apply these techniques, to make the positive changes in the body. So by just sitting and breathing, we are doing quite a lot. And this applies to our walking, to our gait, our balance, because it's the underlying infrastructure, the foundation of how to operate this body. So let's just take 5 more breaths. Do it at your own pace. Don't wait for me to tell you to do it, because I want you guys doing this practice at home someday. Hopefully you're doing it once a day, 5 minutes, maybe 3 times a day, 5 minutes, where you just pause, especially if you start to feel your symptoms kick up, that your response is sit, align, release, relax. Even if the body's kind of jittery, take these breaths. See if you can, with the intent, the E, settle the nerves, settle the body. Right? We reclaim this power of our E. Last 2 breaths. Finishing your next exhale. On your next inhale, slide your hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, chest up, chin up, look up, arching. And then slide your hands forward past your knees, hollow the chest back. So now we do want to round back, drop the head, hollow the front, and then let's change. Slide the hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, arching, look up, reach up. And then slide hands forward, hollow the chest back, drop the head. And again, hands back, elbows back. Let's do that 3 more times on your own. Remember the North Star, the carrot on the stick, the bullseye we're aiming at is sung. Softer, suppler, more supple, more gliding and sliding through movement. So each round we're polishing out, we're dissolving that excess grip, tension, what they call Li, tension-based clumsy strength. We're polishing that out and finding there's plenty of power underneath that in a hydraulic system. And then let's settle back to the middle and go right into our next movement. Left hand forward past your knee, right hand sliding back, elbow back, shoulder blade back. Turn your shoulders, turn your head like you're trying to see someone behind you. This is rotation. And then we switch, but again, we don't rush to switch, we slowly ooze, slide, glide, all the way to the other side. Then we slide and glide, easy, easy, all the way to the other side. And then again, we slide. So we're just training the body to be just so easy, so smooth, so relaxed. And yet we're not losing the integrity of the body. Because a lot of times we get too relaxed, like I was saying before, we start slouching, slumping, we start losing that vibrance. So we keep our open alignment, but yet we don't have extra tension-based strength where we don't need it. That just acts like an obstacle to our function. And then back to middle, keeping that nice verticality, arms hang loose. Shift the weight to your right butt cheek, buttock, and then just softly bend sideways. Lift your left wrist up in front. Your left foot even should be kind of empty, so you just float it off the floor. And then with your right arm, you're reaching like there's something just out of reach you're trying to touch. And then we switch. Shift the weight across the left buttock, left arm reaching down, right wrist floating up. Just bow the body sideways. Christopher, let your body go more to the left. Yeah, let your head go to the left. And then we come all the way across. All the way to the right. So a lot of times we favor one side over the other, and this is for everybody, but from my understanding with Parkinson's, that's accentuated. We have our Parkinson's side, right? That we avoid, that we feel very uncomfortable to go into. So you gotta find your way into that area and find out that, oh, I actually still can stay vertical. I mean, I can still stay functionally balanced. Might not be quote unquote vertical, right? Because we're sideways, but we're not falling over because we're supple, we're pliable. And this exposes this idea that there's a middle that we want to work with rather than sort of being perpendicular to the floor. That's not as important as having this middle and this easy looseness with the limbs around that middle. And back to center. Shoulders forward, up, back, down. We're going to do this a few more times. I'm just going to come closer so you can see. Shoulder blades are here. They go apart, up, together, down. Apart, up, together, down. Do that a few more times. Forward and up, back, squishing down. Remember, what's the North Star? Softness, suppleness, ease, gliding, sliding, flowing. Reverse, shoulder blades go back, up, over the top, forward, down, under, back and up, over the top, forward, down, under, back, up, over, down. Got to notice what is not moving if there's areas not moving as much. So Christopher, I'll use you again. Do you notice that your left shoulder is kind of going much less than your right shoulder? That's where the E, the intent, becomes so important for everybody. Whatever your sluggish part is, you should know that about your body. And so when we're doing a practice, you're putting extra awareness into that left shoulder and really getting it to go to its maximum, because that's our weakest link. And so we want to bring our weaker link to balance with our stronger side. Okay, and then done there. Now we scoot a little bit back in the chair. Lift your right knee, pull your right heel into your butt, and then push the leg away. Reload, set the foot down. Other leg, low reload it, down, load and push, load and down, load, push, load, down. Now, right leg, straighten it, point the foot, flex the foot, point, flex, point, flex, point. Now, tilt the foot in, out, in, out, in, out. Now, circle, in, around, and out. Couple of times. Out, around, and in. And other leg, point, flex, point, and flex. Continue. Tilt the foot in, out, in, out, in. Circles, in, around, and out. And there are Qigong forms that we spend an hour just going every joint. Go ahead the other way with the foot. Every single joint, every single pathway. We're doing a very cursory, basic setup. Go ahead, set that foot down, just so we can be tuned up a little bit before standing and trying to work on walking and balancing all that. Now, scoot forward to your front edge. Last one we'll do with the legs. Toe, step your feet a little wider than hips, lift your toes, and turn on the heels. Toes and knees in. Lift those toes, toes and knees out. Feel the opening of the groin, very important. Closing, opening. So the real estate, the space between where the legs and pelvis meet, there's potential for a lot of room, a lot of space there, but most people, especially as we age, don't do these types of movements, and so that area gets rigid and stuck, and then we're walking around again, kind of like Frankenstein, rather than having room to move, right? So we're buying this real estate for ourselves through our practice. Now, hip hinge, fold, sit vertical, tip back. Remember, what's the North Star? The North Star is soft. So don't grab onto your body and force this. Instead, try to just soften the hip crease, fold, soft, come up, softly lean back. You're moving the pelvis over the leg bone at the hip side. Just tipping and tip. And vertical. Now, arms hanging, we should have hopefully a little looser quality here. So take your arms up in front and then just drop them and swing. Swing. So what's really important here is going behind you. Swinging down a bit up and then behind. So that we're not holding on to the tension that's in this space. We've got to be loose there. And then relax the arms. And now swing one forward, one back, and then switch, switch. So again, from the shoulder, this loose quality will start to turn our middle pivot. And that doesn't mean we want to grab onto the middle pivot and try to start turning it. No, just be loose. And let the natural, they call this shenfa, body technique, that by doing an outer movement with softness and thoroughness, we jumpstart these internal mechanisms. We thaw them out and we bring them back online. So this looseness is so important. And then relax. Stay relaxed. Slide your feet back a little underneath. Fold at the hips. Now arms are loose. Head and shoulders go in front of the ankles. Pour the weight into the earth. And remember Bobo the Clown, the idea of the sediment going down. And then us being up here is like we're full of air, like that blow-up doll, right? We're just full of air, we're loose, we're relaxed, and we're grounded down to the earth. Then stay with that grounded, loose quality, so the joints are loose, the hips are loose, the shoulders, everything's loose. Then you just stick the butt back and fold this loose body, staying well grounded. Land the tush on the chair, and then you lean back. And now let's do this little fast feet thing. Tap, 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 tap. Because we notice, oh, our feet are now pretty much as empty as our arms, because we're using the chair to get us to the floor. So feel that. But then when we go to stand up, that changes. We now pour the weight out of the chair, down through the legs, down to the earth, stand up super tall. And even let's go a little, if you can, go a little like this without falling. And notice how I'm accomplishing this. I'm not grabbing onto my shoulders and yanking myself back dangerously. I'm loose, and I'm just taking my hips more forward, butt more forward, letting the arms stay loose, right? A little back bend here. Oh, we just kind of go in that direction. And now let's do a few squats where we stick the butt back. We sink low, like we're going to go touch our toes. Go down and touch the toes, and then push through the earth. Come all the way to standing, and then go hips forward. Let the upper body just softly arch. And then again, stick the butt back. All the way down. We'll just do this a few more times. Remember, soft, soft, soft. Softer, always softer. Make sure, I can't quite tell, but it looks like maybe some of you, look at the difference here. When I go down, I'm not bending like this and keeping my butt up here. I'm very clearly sitting the tush and also letting there be that looseness through the shoulders, the arms, and the head. So there is this sort of dropped head, and then rise, and then hips forward, and again, back, sinking, and then up, rising, hips forward, and back to middle, standing in the middle. Chair on your right. Step and face that chair. Notice that there is more foot in front of the ankle than there is behind it. So what that means functionally is that we can lean forward without falling down. Now, take a peek at me and notice that my arms are not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm doing this. They're loose. And David Wagner, take a look at me. So this is where your body is right now. Right? So this isn't going to work until you get to here. So use the chair to get vertical, more vertical, even more. Get your chest up, your head up. You got to get way up, taller than that even, way taller. Chest up, head up. Use the chair. Push into the chair to get tall. Taller, taller, taller. Bring your hips underneath you, forward and underneath you until you're tall. Now keep that tallness. That's pretty good. And now lean a little bit forward into your toes. When you lean forward, don't do that. Don't stick your butt back like that. So David, watch me. I'm going to show you what you're doing. When I'm asking you to do this, you're doing this. Right? It's very different functionally. It's not challenging the middle as much. So as best you can, and again, this will come over time, but I'm just trying to correct what I see. Be vertical, and then we lean a little bit into the toes. It's scary. It's a little scary, but that's why we have the chair there to lean forward. And then we tip back, and then try to go a little into your heels. And then go forward into your toes just a bit. And the chair is there to make sure you are safe, so please be safe. Rock back into your heel. Eventually, can you do this with no hand? And what this can teach you is what it really feels like to let chunwan, or softening into stability, softening down through to the earth, Because when you lean forward into your toes, you're no longer touching the earth with your heels, yet you're still grounded. And then the same thing applies as you rock back and you even go into your heels and you're not even using your toes and yet you're grounded. And then you rock into the toes again and you're still grounded. And then try a couple where you feel the sense that you never are not grounded. You're always grounded throughout the whole change of going forward and backward. So again, this nimble, light, loose body made of liquid, and then you're just grounded, connected to the earth, energetic. Settle to the middle. Turn and face forward and back up a little bit so that this chair is in front of you. So you're not standing right next to your chair. You're standing behind a little and it's off to the right. Now, same idea we were just doing toes and heels. Do left, go into your right leg. So right now we're using both legs, but change your weight so you're just in your right leg. Can you get it to where all that connecting to the earth is being done through the right leg, and this left leg feels a little emptier? And I always use that example of an air hockey puck on the air hockey table where there's that little air pocket and it's floating. So your empty leg should have that feeling that it's almost floating, your empty foot floating on a pocket of air. That doesn't mean I've picked my foot up with force, it's just empty. And then we change, pour the weight over now, feel that chung one, that sinking down through the left leg, and then feel the air hockey puck floatiness. You see this movement I'm doing with the foot. It takes no effort, takes no force because it's empty, it's light. And then we change. So from our middle pivot, we want to get excellent. We have to become excellent at this very subtle, nuanced skill. Arms hanging, shoulders loose. Crown is up because the moment this happens to me, the moment I go like this and this bad posture, now I've made this infinitely more work. Now I have to grab on with all these muscles throughout my body to try to walk. So it's very scary to come away from this shape. It's very scary to get back to verticality. That's why we have the chair for safety. But this is what trains us in ease. Again, this is how we get back to easy. So let's just do a few more where you're vertical and relaxed. And it's kind of like we're risking it a little bit, but this keeps us safe. The chair keeps us safe. But risk by being vertical and just let the weight go down and through. Now we add a challenge. Have your right foot empty. Lift to the tippy toe. Notice I didn't yank my leg up off the ground like that. I emptied it and then just floated it. Just the same way you can float the arm. You can float this empty leg. Put the heel back down. Change the weight. So now the right leg becomes full. This is now empty, so you can go heel up, get to the tip of the shoe. Just right to the tip of the shoe. Heel down. From your middle pivot, change. The weight goes down through the left leg. The right heel lift is now possible. Down with the right foot, change. Lift that empty left heel to the tippy toe. Heel down. Change. Now, next level challenge. Chair is there for you. Might want to put a finger on it at least. We get to the tippy toe and disconnect the foot from the floor. Then land the whole foot back to the floor with no body weight, heel included, and then change, shift. Once your left foot is empty, go tippy toe, disconnect, reconnect with no body weight. From the middle pivot, change. Once the right leg is empty, go tippy toe, lift, back down, change. Tippy toe, lift, back change. Some of you might feel like you're going to go, okay, no hands. I know my chairs are there for safety, but you start to add this challenge. Tendency again, keep doing that please while I keep yapping. Tendency is when we get scared, we do this. We start losing our verticality, but like I said, this makes it infinitely more work on the neck, the shoulders, the back. So really use the chair to give you that feeling of safety so you can keep vertical. Again, zhongjang is the term. Zhongjang. And eventually you can keep zhongjang. And let's do 2 on each leg more, level 3. So we get to the tippy toe, lift, and keep going and keep going and keep going to the highest height your knee can go. There's a point at which it can't go further. So use the chair to get it all the way up. And then lower that leg, no weight, change. Once the right is full, the left is empty. You've discerned empty and full. You go tippy toe, lift, and all the way lift. Get it up there to that highest possible height. Leg all the way down, land it, change. Use the chair to get that full range. And next exercise set. So that closes the first opening exercise. That's a great daily practice before you go out and walk around to wake up the middle pivot, to separate the idea of one full, one empty, one full, one empty. Because in Tai Chi, they have the idea of being double weighted is what's going wrong for so many people, where the middle is stuck, the hips are stuck, and then we're kind of forcing ourselves, we're hammering our weight into the ground when we walk versus, oh, one is full, one is empty, and then I step, and then I shift, and then I step and shift, and I move, and I'm empty on a foot and full on the other, and then I can change, and that's where Tai Chi practice comes in. You can see that I'm playing with what's full, what's empty, what's full, what's empty, and then adding different things here. But the underlying practice is this discerning of empty, full. So let's take that up one notch. Put the weight through your left leg. Right foot is empty. You got your hand near this chair. Put the right foot in front, heel touching. So here we are, like this. Okay, so you're facing forward. Remember verticality. Remember, you're not going to be doing this as your mistake. You're going to be doing this as your mistake. So assume you need to correct that and get vertical. Now from here, change your weight into your right leg that's in front of you and get to the tippy toe of your left foot behind you, and then reverse. Go down through the left, get to the tip of the heel. So remember, we're discerning full and empty, but now with this foot in front, when I go down to the earth, my body moves forward. I didn't have to make it move forward. Same thing, if I just go down to the earth, my body moved backwards in space. I didn't have to do it. So I just relax. Shift. Get to the tippy toe. Shift. Because a lot of times what gets us over our skis is we think, I got to go forward. We're holding on to our body. And then we go forward and we get over our skis. And there's this constant battle versus totally loose and vertical. And then we're just going down to the earth. Going down to the earth. Vertical stays intact, moves forward. Vertical stays intact, moves backwards. Let's go level 2. Use the chair as needed. With your right leg, disconnect. Reconnect the heel. Change the weight down through the right leg. And now this back leg, you just lift. Little flamingo lift. Touch the toe down empty, and then just shift. From the hip, lift, lower, shift. Bend the knee, toe down, shift. Hip, down, shift. So remember I was talking about space where the legs and pelvis meet. So if I have that area jammed up, every time I do this, I'm holding and I'm feeling imbalanced, and I'm also having to yank the leg through movement. But as I'm looser here, then I just go, okay, that's full, that's easy, no problem. And then same thing here, this is no problem, right? Loose, easy. And then change, and then this is easy. Level 3 of this exercise, hand on chair, knee up. Then the heel softly touch down, shift. Then heel to butt and knee up, back, shift back. The weight's going down through one leg so that chingling, light and nimble happens over here. And then the weight goes down. That's the primary focus. And that makes this no problem. 2 more. Down allows for the up. Down gives us our vertical. Down. So the good news about Tai Chi is eventually it's doing less. It's realizing you're doing too much. You're holding, grabbing, gripping, doing all kinds of things that eventually you go, oh, let's let that go. And suddenly movement becomes natural. Let's switch sides. Bring right foot next to left foot, side step. Near this chair, change your weight to your right leg. Put your left foot in front on the heel. Shift into that left leg. Remember, it's down. Shift it back into that leg. Remember, it's down. Down gives you the up. Down gives you the rootedness. And eventually, this idea that you are never not grounded. So that there's not a point during this transfer that suddenly I'm not feeling connected to the earth. That's not how it is for most of you, I'm imagining. But over time, the softer you get, the more you go, I'm just grounded throughout. And I'm still grounded, and I'm still grounded. I'm just changing, I'm handing off where I'm connecting to the ground through. Level 2, chair as needed from this hip. Straight leg lift, lower, shift. Back leg, as it's empty, the knee can just bend, toe can touch down, and we shift from the hip, from the knee. Looser and looser. A good mantra, everything loose. Everything loose. Now, again, the prerequisite is alignment. You do have to get out of bad posture situations before you can really loosen. You have to correct that, but then loosen. This is level 2. Now we go level 3. Knee up. Heel down. It's empty the whole time. Then we change. Fold. So now this is empty and it can go up, back, change. Then it's up, down, change. Beautiful thing in Tai Chi is when you find this practice and do it enough, swiftness becomes available. Swiftness is we're not rushing, we're not even hurrying at all, yet we can move fast. Right? So I just moved that fast, but I'm in a state of total ease, grounded, right? Balance. Okay. Change weight over, change sides once more. Make sure that chair is again in front of you and off to your right because we're about to take a step forward. So change the weight to your left leg, put your right foot in front. Just like we did in the previous exercise. Shift, get to this tippy toe. Now from this tippy toe, step and put the heel out in front. And then shift again, get to this tippy toe, the other foot. Now we go backwards. Shift back, wait until you truly have an empty front foot. Step it behind you, touch the toe to the ground, still empty, and then shift. So I'm going to turn a little sideways so you can see some other angle of that. So we shift, Wait, 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 wait. Still not changing. We step empty, and then we change the weight. And we go back, we shift, we wait long enough till we separate empty and full. We step the empty foot, and then back. Shift, wait for it, step, shift. Remember that the primary direction is down, down. We don't have to think forwards. We don't have to think backwards. That all gets taken care of when we just keep this relationship to the earth. Level 2. You got your chair. We lift, lower, shift. This back leg is empty, so now we can pick it up, bring it over top, and set it down in front, and then we shift. And then your back leg, we do that flamingo. And then we shift. Now this one is a little trickier. Watch it. Forwards in front, bend the knee, push the foot back, find the earth, shift. So the visual is that we're stepping over an obstacle. Lift, lower. Now we shift. Once this foot is empty, we can safely float it. And shift. And then we go flamingo. And then we shift. Now the backwards is always a little trickier. Use the chair for safety, but work on that whole movement with no body weight going back when you step back. And then you choose to go back. Lift, lower, shift, step up and over something. Flamingo. Shift. Reverse. Shift. And finally, level 3. Knee all the way up. Heel softly down. Shift. Now your back leg, go heel to butt, knee all the way up. Use your chair for safety. Foot forward, down. Shift. Bring that other leg up. Back. Shift back. Knee, heel, foot, shift. Lift. Lower. One more. Shift. We go. Just exaggerated to free the limb. We're freeing the limbs and tissue, but we're also challenging how relaxed can we be through these movements. We're going to switch sides. Step over to the other chair. Put the weight in your right leg. Left foot is in front. Left foot is in front, we shift. Once your back foot is empty, just float it. Touch the heel, still empty, shift. And then we shift back. Wait for it to be empty, step, shift back. Remember, we're always training the E, the mind. The mind being present enough to say, hey, relax. The mind being present enough to say, primary direction down. Primary direction down, right? Down to the earth. Down. The mind present enough to recognize anywhere that you're holding unnecessarily or letting your body slouch unnecessarily. You got to be present to register that and make these adjustments. So we're training, just like a mystic monk is trying to train their mind at the ashram. That's what we're doing in our practice. Level 2, from this hip, lift and lower that front leg, left leg it should be for you, and then shift. And now it's as if we got to step over something. So the foot is empty, so it can float slow. Put the heel down. Shift. And then your back foot or your empty foot, flamingo, touch the toe down, and we shift. Front leg up, tuck, reach, still no weight. That's the money spot. This movement right here without putting weight in it. And then wade through it. Lift, lower, shift, little bicycle. Shift, flamingo. Eventually, too, you start to be able to picture an idea of a cappuccino cup on your head, not spilling. And it's not spilling, not because we're holding the muscles of the body in such an intense way, but the opposite. We're holding nothing, which gives us a groundedness, which creates a stability and an alignment. So this is just floating along effortlessly. Stop. Then let's finish with level 3. Up, down, shift. Exaggerated here. So we're going heel to butt, knee up, foot out, float it down, 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 all the while keeping all that good alignment. Then we shift and bring, again, you got your chair there for safety. Bring that knee up, reach that foot back, shift, and then this big exaggerated bicycle. Knee, tuck, foot, shift, up, down, shift, exaggerated, shift, up, back, shift, first. 2 more, level 3. Now, a little closing series. So, hips. Remember what we did earlier where we pushed our hips forward? Right? So we're going to try to get a full circle with these hips. So place your hands on the front of the hips. Just give you some awareness. Try to go out to the side. So notice my body ends up sideways leaning, but it's very different than if I grab my body with tension and force my body this way from up here, as opposed to relaxed hips go that way. Everything is loose, right? And then loose. So get that push of the pelvis. So we're trying to break something. We're trying to break this grip. There's like this death grip going on right in the groin, hips, back, legs, to where that forces us to only be able to walk kind of penguin style, as opposed to this loose thing that we're looking for. So now you got to the side. Hopefully you found a little bit of that. Then let's again do this forward and stick your butt back. And then again, forward and back. Then we're going to put that all together. So go forward, over to your right. Stick the butt back, come around, up and forward. Now, if I turn sideways, you'll be able to see my upper body and head are being moved because I'm just relaxing. So because there's a relaxation, when I push my hips forward, my body naturally falls a little bit over the top back. When I push my hips to the right, then my body kind of leans this way. But it's not because I'm forcing it, it's because I'm letting it. That makes all the difference. Now we're circling around. And then let's reverse. So come around, whichever direction you were going, go the other. Let the head hang too. That's the other thing that people are often doing, holding their head up. Notice that when my butt goes back, my head is dropped. And conversely, when my hips go forward, the head falls back with the chin up. And then it falls forward, and then the head rolls to the side. So it's not just folks with Parkinson's that have to learn this, by the way. Just so you know, every human being, as they're aging on the planet, goes through this same issue of grabbing, holding, getting tighter, tighter, shrink, more caution, more fear. And when we practice looseness, we find ourselves reclaiming some of this youthful vigor, this lightness, this nimbleness that we associate with when we were younger, but it's right there. It's available to us. We just have to train it more now than when we were 9 or 12 or 18 or whatever. We have to actively pursue it. So that's Taoist practice. Now, hands come together, rub palms. Rub the back of one hand, palms. Back of other hand, palms. And the groin crease on either side have a soft, there's a Tai Chi massage idea that we're not pressing, soft but vigorous, right? Soft but vigorous, right? And so again, Christopher, I'll use you as an example. Pay attention to what you're doing. You're doing this. This isn't even moving, and you're staying in a very small range. Look what I'm doing. Big movement, whole range. There you go. So that's the E. That's the mind that everyone has to address or apply. We have to apply our attention. So we're training our E when we're doing exercise. Open and close right here along the front of the hips. Now, I'm not up on my stomach here. Here's my pubic bone. I'm down. Here's the leg right in this crease. That's the hip flexor. So let's be precise right where we want to be rubbing. So again, we had the inguinal crease. So genital area in the middle, this sensitive groin area on either side, the quad, and then turn the hands and go out and around and in and back. Okay. Then we go around to the back. We've got the tailbone. So kind of a soft, vigorous. Then we come up onto the lumbar muscles, the lower back muscles. And then, like you're sitting for a squat, stick your butt back, sink. The hands sweep down the outside of the legs, around to the inside, standing up, come up the inside all the way to the navel. And now we do a sort of flow of that. So it's qua, hip flexors, sacrum and tail, lumbar, and then outer legs, yang channels, inner legs, yin channels to the navel. Do it one more time. Qua, hip flexor, sacrum and tail, lumbar, and finally, up the outer arm to the shoulder, turn, down the inner arm, up the yang channels. So David, notice how high I'm getting, all the way up to here. Then I'm just turning that arm and going one smooth motion off. One smooth motion up, turn. One smooth motion off. Other arm. One smooth motion, turn. One smooth motion off. Outer arm, inner arm. Outer, inner, outer. Great job. Wings. Turn your palms up over top with the hands, settling, Hands turn to face. Here's the belly button level. Hands are right at that level. And take an awareness through your body and notice, are you doing this or are you doing this? So Christopher, you need to soften those elbows. Let them hang, right? Because there's this that you're kind of doing, and then there's this. It's a different feel, right? And the hands, this very interesting Tai Chi hand thing where it's not this, but it's also not this. It's this. There's awareness through it. Look at my thumb. Notice how my thumb isn't doing something funky like that. It's relaxed. Fits right into, they call this the tiger's mouth. This relaxed quality. So our hands are not flat like so. They're soft and round, and they have a little cupping space there. That's good, Maureen. That's exactly right. You feel that, right? You feel that loose quality that's got life force able to get all the way to the tips of the fingers. Because if we're doing this, they call this death hands in Tai Chi. This is us creating a not great flow of chi in the body. This creates a just this beautiful flow. Okay, and then seal, one hand, other hand. And then this Taoist bow, this mudra, this hand gesture. Grab, fold. Creates a little yin-yang symbol representing this harmonizing of yin and yang. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day. If there are questions, feel free to unmute